Hey, what's up? We want to welcome you guys. We're so glad y'all are tuning in tonight to TechMix.tv. We got a great show planned tonight. We got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. We are streaming live right now from San Marcos, Texas, using the amazing Coolabyte technology. And we're so glad you guys are tuning in. You can watch if you want on your BlackBerry, your Android, and your iPhone, or from the computer. Obviously, if you're watching us, you already know at least one of those, right? I want you to say hello to my good friend and co-host, Dominic. What's up, Dominic?
Yo, what's up, Team Tech Mix? Thanks for being here late on a Tuesday night and keeping it real. I know there's a lot of other cool shows on right now, and we appreciate you turning in to TechMix.tv. Man, we got all kinds of things that we want to talk to you guys about tonight, and I want to jump right into it. But before we do that, I want to remind you guys that you can call in at 512-843-2835, or you can text us there, or you can email us, face page us, Twitter us, all kinds of stuff. You guys, we got a lot of things to talk about, and we still have a couple more gift certificates left to Panhandler Pizza, our sponsor for the show tonight. Guys are great. Great food, great pizza, great salads, great sodas. Oh, the sodas are just top-notch there. So throughout the show, if you text in, call in, tweet in, face in, any of that stuff, then we'll get you in a drawing. At the end of the show, you might win $20 of Panhandler Pizza. Maybe we'll make it more. We won't. But right. You never know until the end of the show,
That's
so you
right.
got to watch the whole thing.
You won't know till it happens.
So I want to start off with this, and I want you guys to really catch the irony here, okay? This is TechMix.tv, and we're having major technical issues. Our computer that we usually show you guys stuff on is not working right now, but we're going to get through it because that's what we do here at TechMix.tv. Yeah. That's what we do. And you guys, you're tried and true fans as it is, so here we go. This one's for you, fans.
We're gonna turn it off and leave it alone. That's what we do here, right? No,
yeah.
We're saying, hey, it's out of here. Yeah, and I want to add to what Dominic said about Panhandler's Pizza. Man, we love Panhandler's Pizza, and they are our sponsor this month. Appreciate them. They got a great product, great food, great people. You know, if you go there more than a few times, they know your name and they greet you by name when you come in the door. Great place. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. So what's going on out there in the tech world tonight, Mr. Dom?
Well, we got a ton of new things, so we're going to hop right in. Here we go. First of all, a couple of shows ago, kind of our theme is we've been talking about Google Docs.
Google Docs,
right?
Yes.
And Google Docs.
What is Google Docs?
Google Docs is online productivity. That's being able to do documents, spreadsheets, presentations, view PDFs, all kinds of things. Well, recently, Google Docs has kind of upped the ante, right? And they've really allowed a lot more file formats to be uploaded and used on their site. And the reason that's a big deal, and the reason why you should be concerned about it, is that includes XLS files, XLSX, right, which is
yes.
the new Excel. There's more movie files they can do, and there's a lot more files you can actually view in there and save within Google Docs.
I have the official list. Would you like for me to read it?
I would love that.
Check this out. Google Docs, Excel, and XLX, just like what Dominic said. Also, PowerPoint, 2007, 2010, with the X on the end also. Apple Pages. Did you know they can do Apple Pages?
That's awesome.
Excuse me.
What is Apple? Is that a new company?
Yeah, it's a company. I think they sell computers or something, or phones, or no, they're into music. But it does Apple Pages, which is Apple's version of Microsoft Word, basically. Adobe Illustrator. Isn't that cool? Adobe Illustrator, man, that rocks, man.
And those are difficult files to mess with, so that's really cool that Google's doing that. I'm serious.
I've been wanting to try one to see how it works out. You know, that's the way you can edit a PDF file. Did you know that? If you just change the end to .ai instead of .pdf, you can go in and edit it as an Adobe Illustrator file.
That's pretty
Tech
awesome.
tip tonight.
Boom.
Early, wasn't planned. But check this out. Also, not only Illustrator, but Adobe Photoshop. It also does Photoshop, AutoCAD. Like, we need somebody to tweet in. Is anybody using AutoCAD? I guess so. It's one of the top things on here. So AutoCAD. Also scalable vector graphics, PostScript, TrueType, and XML paper specifications. So 12 new types that they can do on Google Docs. So, man, that's pretty sweet. So what else is going on out there tonight, Mr. Dominic?
I just got a text in that we're having some trouble streaming. If you're having trouble streaming, if you can't see the video, I would say maybe try rebooting the computer or something like that, maybe try it on your iPhone or iPad if you have anything like that.
Yeah, we're checking the feed right now, and we're getting a good feed.
Looks like it's okay. So keep us updated if you're trying and it's not working. I got a comment that there's voices but no video. So maybe try rebooting or logging off and logging on.
Can you ask them back do they normally hear voices without video, or is that a new thing for tonight? No, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, try rebooting your computer because we can see the feed from the internet here, and it looks like it's working pretty good. Well, one of the things we wanted to report on tonight, a few weeks ago, Steve Jobs took a medical leave of absence, and he's been in our prayers and thoughts over the last few weeks. And so people have seen him this week. They've been talking about this, that he's looking especially bad. So we wanted you guys, be praying about that. I bought a couple of shares of Apple last weekend, Dom, and man, they've gone down a whole bunch since this news came out. So we want to be keeping him, in our prayers and stuff. So another thing, we found out this week that Firefox has put out a roadmap, basically of what they're going to do for the rest of the year, and it looks like they're going to put out Firefox 4, Firefox 5. 6, 7, and 8. How could that possibly be? Like,
it seems silly to me.
It really does.
I think it really should all roll up into, and I guess with when it comes to updates, right? And a lot of people might not really understand what updates mean. And I know that there's a science, there's a method to the madness when a software programmer updates things. They have certain numbers that they use to update, right? Well, it just seems odd that they're going to release these major updates all within 1 year. It almost seems like that would be better if it was just all rolled up into maybe 2 updates at most. What do you think about that?
Well, that may be the case, and maybe it did say draft at the top. But you know what? One thing that's happened, Dominic and I always talk about competition and how it's good for people. Well, Google Chrome is putting out a major update at least every 6 weeks. Did you know that? That's their goal, is to put out a major update at least every 6 weeks. So maybe that's had a little impact on on Firefox. What do you think about that?
Define major.
Oh, I don't know. It's just whatever they call. I guess they go from 10 to 11 or something like that.
Yeah. See, and maybe you're right. Maybe that's the pace that Firefox needs to keep if Google's going to do that. I know that Firefox. Some of the updates they're going to be doing on their roadmap that they've mentioned is that the updates are some things that kind of Chrome is doing. I know one of them was, what do you think about that, Randy? One of them was kind of sparsing out the space, or what do you call that when Google kind of spreads out over the things so they're not in one.
Their roadmap?
Where Google spreads out the Google Chrome on the computer.
Right. That's
Jeez,
what's bad?
Please don't ask us any questions about technology
tonight. Maybe we're just going to say we didn't have a show tonight, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's called, man. So anyway, the next little bit of news we want to talk about, this is huge.
Please, no questions about that previous story.
Let's never mention it again. No, seriously. And Apple has this past week has put out some guidelines for selling subscriptions in the apps. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I have.
So tell me, what exactly did you hear?
Well, what they've done is, and some people are actually comparing it to iTunes and what iTunes did for the music industry. They're having in-app subscriptions to magazines, newspapers, that kind of thing. And with anything that Apple does, it's always under a magnifying glass, good side and bad side. And the argument that people are having is that on one side, it's, well, Apple almost has too much control, right? Especially when it comes to things like iTunes. Apple has so much control over the music industry because if you buy something on iTunes, well, you can only play it on Apple devices, or you can burn a CD for your car, right? But it's DRM protected always. And they're afraid that they're going to kind of take over the publishing world by doing something like that, an in-app subscription to a magazine or something like that. Now, what's good about that, you go on the other side of that coin. Well, first of all, let's on the bad side of that. Can you see some issues with that on the bad side?
Yeah, I sure can.
Tell us about it, Randy.
Well, and that's why it's so great that we talk about these things. You know, our mission of making technology accessible so people can make their lives better. How in the world does this fit into that? Because when we talk about it, stuff happens. Stuff happens. It's not just us; it's other people talking about it. When when iOS 4 first came out, Apple had something like this where they were going to only allow iAds. Do you remember that? They were going to only allow iAds to be inside of the apps.
Right.
Well, some people started talking, raising a fuss. You know, the bloggers went crazy. We had like 2 phone calls that night. I mean, everything was going bananas. And, you know, bottom line was they changed, and they relented from that. Well, with this subscription model, what people have been saying is that, like, even like Hulu and Netflix, like they'll be taking like a third of that. They'll be taking all this different stuff, man. Why are you laughing? But anyway, I heard yesterday Steve Jobs come out and say, or somebody from Apple came out and say that they're probably not going to do like the movies. It's going to stick with the magazines and stuff like that. But there's still going to be a 30% cut. And so some people are saying, okay, do they have to do 30%? I mean, because that cost will be passed on to us as consumers. I don't know, maybe not. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the thing is that, and this is not an Apple fan thing, okay? This is something that Apple has done is they just make things very brainless to do, right? If you want to buy music, your first instinct is iTunes, unless you have something else, right?
Yeah.
Just like when you think of online streaming, you don't think, which we'll get to later, right? Some new online streaming.
We just can't show it on our broken computer.
Right. So when you think of online streaming, the first thing you think of is Netflix, right? They've kind of dominated that, and they're not the only people out there that stream movies or TV shows, but they're kind of what you think. So what I think is good that Apple has done is they make it super easy, and it's not just Apple; it's any kind of software that lets you do purchases from within, like. For instance, an Amazon Kindle, right?
Right.
If you want to purchase a book from the Amazon store, Amazon Kindle makes it very simple to go buy a book. It downloads right away, and you start reading. That doesn't mean that they're trying to take over the reading world, which they already have, right? That doesn't mean they're trying to do that. They just want to make it easier for the consumer. And that's what the consumer wants, is something easy, and they don't have to work around and go buy it here and then download it and make sure it syncs.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to worry about all that.
Right.
So that's what I think about that.
Isn't it funny how stuff like this, the rumor gets out, the blogs go crazy, and then within a few days, it's like, you know, somebody has declared themselves, you know, the Antichrist or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you start picking it apart, and it really probably isn't that horrible, you know? Mm-hmm. When I first heard people talking about it, it upset me. But the way you put it, it's like, well, 30%, that's what they take from apps. So that makes sense they would take that from subscriptions, right?
Well, I mean, I think it's... They're providing, first of all, they're providing a service, right? Second of all, if Apple said, "Hey, Dom, Randy, we're going to give you $1 million a year to do TechMix.tv, but we're going to take 30%." Like, oh no, I don't know what I would do. Or, you know, we'll sell your show, but we're going to need 30%. It would be like, heck yeah, there's just so much exposure there with Apple, and that's why that's why the App Store has just blown up, even though there's a 30% take away from Apple.
Right.
There's just too much volume there to ignore that.
It's a great place to sell your stuff.
Right.
It really is. Yeah, that's cool. And I remember, this kind of stuff, like I just said, it gets blown out of proportion all the time. You just got to kind of take it with a little grain of salt. But you were talking about making stuff simple. I was alive and kicking when they first started doing MP3s on MP3 players, and I was doing computer work back then, and I made a lot of money with people inviting me over to their house to pay me, you know, $50 an hour to teach them how to use their MP3 player.
Dang,
you know, I mean, it's like, can you come set up my MP3 player? I don't remember all the popular ones back then, but that was the reality, you know. And then the iPod came along. The original iPod had like 30 gigabytes on it or 20 gigabytes. People's computers weren't even that big back then. And I was like, what are they thinking? I mean, all this stuff's got to come off the computer and go on the iPod. Yeah. Well, you know, no one has that much music, but you know what? It worked. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that made Apple great was, the whole iTunes and MP3 and making it simple. So, yeah, I probably flop to your side on this now.
Well, no, I don't have a side.
I just mean on the whole, like, it's a good thing. as opposed to like it's a sign of impending doom.
No, I'm not even saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying that there's good. I mean, I can see how it would be bad. It really, it almost at the same time as creating competition, because this is kind of like the story with not necessarily Apple, but big companies like that. Is they come out with something. If Google came out with a new service, well, they would dominate it until there started to be competitors, because Google, Apple, these big companies, they create innovation, right?
Right.
They drive competition. That's what we've been talking about.
That's right.
We love big companies like that, especially Apple, because they drive people to be creative. Even the jailbreakers, right, of their phones and all this stuff, they're just super creative things that you can do that the phone can do.
Mm-hmm.
And we've discussed offline and all this that. That might be even part of the master plan of Apple is let's see how creative these people can be,
right.
Because what we've kind of seen is that throughout they'll have an update, and then jailbreakers do this and this, and all of a sudden these features that some of the jailbreakers have done are in the next iPhone
right.
software update. And I mean that's great. That's just continuing this whole path of innovation. I love it.
Yeah, and speaking of competition. And speaking of big people getting into the game, just in the last couple of days, Amazon has announced that there are people that are members of Amazon Prime. And I don't know if you've heard of Amazon Prime. It's a way to get shipping for cheap from Amazon.
You nailed that segue, by the way.
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like $80 a year to have like. I think it's $2.99 or $3.99, like next day or second day shipping on all your books and stuff.
So what it is Amazon Prime. It's $79 a year, like you said, and that gives you free second day shipping on all Prime approved products.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So it's not everything on Amazon, but more and more, the more people that are doing this, more products are eligible for the Prime shipping. Okay?
Right.
And with this Prime, it's not only a free second-day shipping on these products. If you want to do one-day shipping, it's $3.99.
Okay.
Super cheap for overnight shipping.
That's awesome.
So literally, if you order it today, it's going to come tomorrow.
Right.
For $3.99.
Yeah, and so, but like totally unrelated to that, other than the fact that people have paid $80 a year, they announced, I believe it was yesterday, that everybody who has Amazon Prime now can watch all the movies that Amazon has, video on demand, can watch them for free. I mean, it's like, so speaking of competition and big people getting in, Amazon has been kind of like this, Hawaiian shirt, flip-flops, just kind of, we're taking it easy. We're making lots of money. We're kind of taking it easy. We're not doing anything real aggressive. All of a sudden, boom. Netflix thinks they're on the top of the world. They've basically almost completely ran like Blockbuster out of business, at least as far as the retail goes. Netflix is just sitting high on the hog, and all of a sudden, bam, here comes Amazon and says, okay, all 6,000 of our movies y'all can watch for free if you have this Prime shipping thing, which I think is pretty sweet, and it's gonna be great for competition. So I think Netflix was probably just thinking, hey, now we ought to raise the prices just a little bit, and then bam, here comes Amazon.
There's one thing I want to say there, I don't think that Amazon doesn't do anything aggressive. I mean, they pretty much define online commerce, and there's not a site out there that doesn't wish they could do business the way Amazon does business. But to your point, it's exactly right. Where Amazon, they're not just gonna jump in and say, well, we want to do streaming too, and it's going to be this, and this. It's like, oh no, if you already have this account, oh yeah, you can have it, no problem. You can do it for free, and that's what you're talking about. That's what we're talking about. That's the game changer, right? This is already included. You're already paying for this, no problem.
Right.
And that's really cool that they're doing that. And plus, even if you didn't use the Prime service, $79 a year for online streaming is cheaper than anything out there.
That's right.
It really is.
It's cheaper than the Netflix.
Right.
That's
it's even cheaper than free Hulu.
Wow.
No, that's false.
It's not cheaper than the free Hulu.
Not cheaper.
Not at all. Not at all. Well, and what I meant by that about Amazon not being as aggressive, they've been aggressive creatively they've been aggressive. But like, check this out. MP3s. They've had MP3 downloads for forever, but they're not doing this earth-shaking stuff to get, like, in my opinion, to get like this big share of the market like Apple's done.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they've got this great product. It's easy to download. Mac, PC, it downloads, blah, 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 blah. It's easy. It'll even put it into iTunes for you automatically. But, you you're not getting. I don't know. I just don't think they've been as aggressive. But
I
you're
see what
right.
you're saying.
They are very, very creative and doing a lot of stuff. So anyway, go check into your Amazon account. Which, by the way, we said a few weeks ago, if you've been an Amazon member for more than a couple years, your password is hackable. Dude, I still haven't changed my password.
Jeez.
You guys have got to change your Amazon password if you've had it for more than a couple years because it's hackable. I'm not going to give out my username because I don't want my account getting hacked. And by the way, it's not in our news, but did you see this week that the rumors on the Apple iPhone 5 are going to be that it's going to have the near field technology, which I want to be officially say for Dominic and I, you heard it here first on TechMix.tv that their phone would have. Because somebody texted in and they're like, what do you think the new iPhone's going to have? And we're like, well, it's going to have near field technology. Anyway, that's the rumor out there. So what's the rest of the news, man?
Well, we actually had a question come in, and the question said it wasn't from anything we're talking about, but they want to know how to do home sharing on iTunes.
Wow.
So,
actually, that's not that bad. When I heard home sharing, I thought home sharing on Windows 7, and I don't know, man. Windows 7 is phenomenally simple in a lot of areas. I'm not a big fan of home sharing. It's not as easy for me as XP, like a work group, home group type thing. But home sharing on iTunes, if you go to iTunes, there's a place where under settings where you can enable sharing. Now, you have to have a network at your house, which means you'll need to have a router of some sort. You can buy those through like Time Warner or whatever.
I like how far you're going back.
I know.
Well, first of all, you need a home.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Then you're going to need outlets.
Have you thought about living in San Marcos?
Then you're going to need internet.
But you will have to have a network because
Right.
if you go into iTunes and say sharing, there's no one to share it with if you're just connected straight to your cable modem.
Sure.
And so you're going to have some kind of a router. If you have wireless, you've got to turn on security, okay? It's very important. So if you've already got all that set up, then all you have to do is you go into iTunes and turn on sharing, and then the other people that get on your network, they'll see you up in their little list. It's like a finder list up on the left. They'll actually see, like if it's Brianna that's sharing, it'll say Brianna's files, and they can just click on it, and they can see all of their music. And so as long as she's logged in, you can play all of her music on your computer, on another computer. It's relatively simple if you already have a network set up, which, if you
Make
don't.
sure you're on the latest iTunes. We always recommend whatever software you're using, use whatever you want, but always use the most updated software. And you can turn on home sharing within iTunes settings. And actually, we have to turn iTunes home sharing on when you use an Apple TV and stuff like that. So,
Oh, sweet.
I don't know. Maybe her, significant other got her an Apple TV. Who knows?
Not sure.
Not sure.
Not sure.
We'll find out later.
Yeah, so we are big fans of keeping your software updated. It's although last time we officially said that, AVG 11 broke Windows 7 64-bit. Like the next day, like first problem that's happened in years. Bam! It broke them entirely.
Yeah.
Blue screen and all that stuff. It was horrible. So yeah, that's the way to do that. So back to the news, man. What else is going on out there?
Well,
man?
here we go. This is something that has been a hot subject with us, pun intended, geo-hot. This has been a geo-hot subject with us. This whole George Hotz versus Sony, right? The new development, new things going on. This case has been going on for about a month. And there's a couple things that I want to talk about that's going on with this. First of all, I had a picture, and it's... We
can't show it over
bring
here.
I want to bring it up, though, because I want to show you guys.
You're going to show us on the iPad?
Yeah, I think I am. Let me see if I've synced my photos. I really
Hey,
want you guys
while
to
you're doing
please
that, let me say a
see
little bit
this.
about this. They've
go.
actually, if you have a jailbroken PS3, you're actually, if you try to log into the PS3 network, you'll get this this picture that he's fixing to show you. They've blocked everybody that has a jailbroken PS3. Check this out.
Can you throw it over here? Can you zoom in? Okay, so with all this geo-hot shenanigans going on, I when this was like 2 or 3 days ago. I logged in and I was going to play a game, and we were going to go to Hulu. And
wow!
And it kept kicking us off, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I went to settings, and it said PlayStation Network has new terms of agreement.
Okay.
And Daddy didn't like, and it made me. I mean, if the PS3 wasn't so freaking sweet, I'd get rid of it.
Wow!
But it's just super sweet. So my wife and I have decided not to buy anything else.
Yeah.
Sony from here on out, and we'll get crazy until the PS4 comes out. Then we'll buy that.
Wow!
But
the boycott has its limitations.
Very interesting. My whole point with this is it's very interesting that this update has just come out, right, with all these things going on. And this is the first time in my life I've ever done that. I literally read the entire agreement.
Like 14 pages?
Anyone, if you've ever, I sat there in front of my TV for about 20 minutes reading that entire agreement. And so anyway, so that I wanted to show you guys that this is fresh in our news and fresh going on in the tech world. And a related story to that is, well, first of all, like you said, you're going to get this message from Sony. And if you have a hacked PS3, like if you use this code that GeoHot has put out there to hack your PS3, Sony is actually banning you from the network.
Wow.
You cannot get onto the internet if you have a hacked PS3. And that just hacks me off. Boom! Second pun of the night. Nailed it. And so people are actually getting emails saying you have a hacked device. You need to either unhack, or you just cannot have access to the internet through the PS network.
Wow.
Now, not only can you not get on, but you're banned for life if you try to access the PlayStation network with a hacked device.
Wow.
It's just shenanigans.
It is shenanigans. Now, it is their network, and I guess if they want to do that,
sure,
then you know, God bless them or whatever. But you know, that's the whole reason why we talk about this kind of stuff, because we don't want people just to roll over and say, "Oh, okay, whatever you guys say." We need to know what's going on out there. We need to know if we're being taken advantage of or not. You should know, like, well, is it a good thing or a bad thing to jailbreak the PS3? Is it wrong? Is it right? Is it neutral? You should know these kind of things, and and be willing, like, just to walk away from it. I don't know. I'm not going to buy another Walkman. That plays.
Well, a story that came up that was kind of around this is that television, future HD televisions, right? They're going to not have HDMI connectors in them anymore.
Really?
Yeah. So they're gonna remove HDMI connectors at all, because with HDMI connectors, then people can possibly play burned movies on DVDs.
Wow.
That entire story is false. Didn't that sound stupid? That they're going to stop putting HDMI connections because people can watch burned DVDs.
Wow, you had us.
Didn't I? I mean,
they're
see
getting
how
rid
ridiculous.
of HDMI.
I mean, I had the same feeling I get when I bluff a hand in poker. That's how ridiculous that is. I go back to my analogy last time about how Porsche has to stop making their 911s because people might speed in them. It's none of their business what people do with things that they've purchased, and it burns me up that companies make it their business nice that what people do with
their stuff,
their own things that they have bought.
Right. Well, and that's
false. The false story.
Yeah, that's right.
All HD TVs will have HDMI.
You did not hear that first on Tech.
You heard it here first.
The blogs go crazy tomorrow.
Yeah.
No more HDMI, dear internets. Yeah. Please put back the HDMI. It's not really real. But that's a good point, though, man. That's a really good point. And GeoHot has actually started a blog for people to send him donations for him to fight this.
It's purely for legal defense.
Right.
He's using all donations for his legal team.
Yeah, all his money. He has all that from all those other great things that he's done. Over the years. I'm sure the guy's probably set for life with some.
He might be. He's only ever done donations. All the jailbreaks he's done have never been.
Right.
In fact, he's always said if someone charged you for this, ask for a refund, because I'm giving this away for free. And you can in fact, the first time I did jailbreak my phone, I did donate money to him.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just but well, anyway.
So anyway, he started a blog to take donations to do the to fight the good fight about that. We wanted to also tell you guys about a new website that's coming out. It's called attachments.me. Attachments, just like it sounds, .me. It's in beta stage right now. You can go there. We'll have a link on our blog for you to go there. You can go there and ask for them to sign you up in the beta program. It's invitation only right now. But Dom, check this out. What it does is it signs in. You let it sign into your Gmail account, and it goes through and it looks at every single attachment that you have. It then groups them by, like by Word docs and pictures. It puts thumbnails on all of them so you can go look at them. And then it's also going to have a social aspect involved where you can like share like the thumbnails with people and stuff like that. Is that just like, I haven't quite figured out what I would use it for, but is that like cool or what?
Well, I requested a sign up from their beta, right? And the more I think about it, the more because when I first read it, I was like, well, why would I even need that? That doesn't really seem like something I would
clean
need.
out my mailbox.
Well, I'm sure there's terms of agreement. I'm sure Sony's running their terms of agreement, so you're safe. But the more I
That's
thought
what I use
about
for
it,
my toilet paper.
Yeah.
Bam!
Boom. The more I thought about it, the more I think about. I think that could be useful,
right?
Because there has been times where I've wanted to find something, and I just had to look by the person. So I mean, maybe if it's one of those things where you don't know you need until you use it. And so maybe if that service is out there and it's something you can it can help you in any way. That's what we do here, right? At TechMix.tv, we want to give you guys pieces of technology that can help you, that can enhance your lives and make things faster for you when you get in front of your computer, so you're not there all day long trying to figure things out. So it could be good. So once I get the beta on the computer and I start using it, I'll have a review for us.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know what's going on out there with this thing. Pretty excited about it though, man. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool deal. So, man, what's up with this next story? Today in the mail, I got an advertisement. It was a postcard from AT&T advertising Android phones, and this is the first time I've ever been advertised to by AT&T for anything other than an iPhone. And then now this shenanigans with the AT&T CEO. What's going on here, man? With AT&T?
This is very, very interesting. And, maybe they're mad that iPhone's not in love with them anymore. Not that they ever were,
right?
So the AT&T has gone on record saying that the App Store is not good for consumers, end quote. And this is very, very interesting. It's an interesting thing to say anyway, but it's interesting, even more interesting, coming from the CEO of AT&T, and basically he just thinks that it's a bad business model and that people don't want to buy apps this way. And I have to go back to pre iPhone days, pre Android days, back in the old school Palm Trio,
Handmark store.
Oh man,
all that
and
stuff.
It was just there couldn't have been a worse experience to purchase applications for a phone.
And it was expensive.
It was expensive.
They had like 3 free apps.
And I mean, you're talking $25, $30 for apps that didn't work after you downloaded them. And there was no one to go to after that.
Right.
It's one of those things where not necessarily Apple, but these companies like Google, Apple, they give you things and you have them for like 10 days and the greatest thing that ever happened to you.
Right.
And after the 10th day, you're like, oh, this is boring. What else you got for me?
Right.
And I want to say that it's because the App Store, if it was such a bad business model, I don't think it would be, as large.
10 billion downloads.
10 billion downloads, right? I mean that is a large.
Like 2 billion
number.
of them in the last like 6 months.
That's
kind
a large.
of thing.
That's a lot of American dollars
going
on there. So I'm not really sure what the plan is there with the AT&T CEO, or I don't know, but. It's out there. He said it, and he meant it.
I think that they are a little afraid of the the business they're probably going to lose with people going to Verizon, or the perception that they might lose business with people going to Verizon, getting the iPhone over there. I mean, the drop calls are a legitimate issue.
They are legit
with AT&T. I was on the phone with somebody this week, and they were talking blah blah blah, click. I mean, it just went dead, you know. And it doesn't happen to everybody, but it does happen to some people, enough that people talk about it. Anyway, I was like surprised today when I go out to my mailbox and get a flyer from AT&T saying that they have Android phones. Which you remember a few weeks ago, I think we asked on the show, does AT&T have Android phones? Because they didn't have to sell them or anything like that. They didn't have to really worry about it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know, man.
We had a question come in. Were you going to continue on with that story?
You can read the question.
Okay. So the question was, it goes a little back to the Sony versus GeoHot. And the question is, why is Sony making such a big deal about all of this? Microsoft has been dealing with this since day one of Xbox Live. So, well, according to GeoHot and what I think personally, and this whole show is about what we think personally. So,
bang.
So, I think the reason that Sony is making such a big deal about this is because they need to make a statement, and at some point, one company was going to have to say enough is enough. I know Apple tried to do that when they went after hackers, and it didn't work out. They actually got reversed, and GeoHot was a part of that also, right? Where the government said it is okay.
Library of Congress, Digital Millennium Copyright Act.
It is okay to hack your phone as long as you don't use it. The same thing, with your movies. Yeah, you can burn your movies to your computer as long as you're not using it to distribute.
As long as you don't do something illegal.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly right. Like speed in a car, right? As long as you don't do that, you can buy a car. No, that's wrong too. So
it's almost like we're going back to the 70s.
Seriously.
They put out cars in the 70s where the speedometers.
There's a governor, right?
I mean, no. When I was a kid, because I'm older, right?
Here we go.
Figured that out.
Don't age yourself.
But, hey, check this out. The speedometers on those old cars from like the 60s and early 70s, they all go up to like 160.
Right.
Like a Camaro, it's like 160. But in like the mid 70s, they started putting out cars, and the speedometer went like up to 80. 80 miles an hour.
You know what? That's true. In fact, when I was growing up, my parents had an 88 Mustang 5.0, and it went to 80 miles an hour.
80 miles an hour.
Let's
wow.
get serious here.
I mean, and what they're thinking somehow that they're going to stop the people from doing stuff that do stuff wrong by not having a speedometer that goes up to 160, or somehow they're tempting people to drive 160. I don't know. Anyway, so it's like the 70s all over again with all these Xbox, Sony shenanigans. Xbox has been dealing with it, but I do want to make a point about this before we move on. There are some cheats that people are using to cheat the system in PlayStation, and GeoHot has said you can do all of those without even jailbreaking your machine.
Correct.
Because Sony has come out and said, well, we're trying to stop the people from cheating. Well, you don't have to jailbreak your machine to cheat.
Right.
And I can't stand it when people cheat at those games. I can't stand it when people quit because they're losing either. I hate that. I think people ought to stick through it and fight those fights or whatever they're doing to the end. I said it there. I got it out.
Yeah, I used to do that if I was losing an NBA Jam on Sega Genesis. Yes. You guys know what I'm talking about. Boom! Reset if I was losing. Did not mess up my record.
I've always saw it like on Xbox Live, like they ought to, if you quit a game, like you should be able to get back in one for 5 minutes or something like that. Because people quit when they start losing. It's like, wow, what is up with this? So last week, we talked about Watson on Jeopardy. We showed a little video. Watson is a supercomputer that IBM has made. Actually it's like 3,600 cores. Basically, I mean, it's got a lot of cores, okay, and they've they've programmed it to where it doesn't just think one way; it thinks in a multitude of ways to try to solve. It still doesn't really think for itself, as far as we know. But anyway, Watson ruled last week at Jeopardy, man. I think what was the last night, Wednesday night, and he ended up with like $75,000. It became basically where the humans were actually, like, you can see from their bets, they weren't even trying to beat Watson anymore. They were trying to beat each other, and like behind the scenes, they were almost like they were mocking Watson, mocking him for winning, and he's not smart enough to know that. So we had a video we were going to show.
He will be.
Yeah, one day. One day when he becomes self-aware, he'll be afraid, and that will be the end of all, right? Well, we're going to post a video on our website. Conan O'Brien did a little video called "Humans Are Still Pretty Good." I so wish we could show that.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
It's a great video.
We'll have a link to it. We'll have a link to it on our blog later.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun with Watson this week. Also we saw this week the first ad came out for Motorola Zoom. Did you check that out? That first ad that came out?
Yeah, I really didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I know.
Some guy gets wrapped up in like a metal cocoon.
It basically is robots, loud music, flashy graphics. It looks like with the Motorola Zoom on Verizon, they're going to stick with the Droid advertising, which I think the Droid advertising is the best phone advertising ever. People may or may not agree. Obviously, they're not that particular brand of Droids, not the number one necessarily.
Yeah, I love
Droid advertising.
I want to say that T-Mobile's D. Wade and Charles Barkley commercials might be the best mobile phone advertising team.
Oh, gosh.
I also was a big fan of Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah.
And even old school voice stream with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, they kept
You're
it
kind of
real.
old too, man.
Yeah.
You probably were like 3.
Yeah,
though,
back
right?
in the 70s, I wasn't born yet.
That's right.
So, sorry about
wow,
that.
man, wow. Yeah. Oh, so okay, man. So check this out. The new T-Mobile ads. Have you seen those with the girl that says, "Hi, I'm a MyTouch 4G," and the other guy says, "Hi, I'm an iPhone." Have you seen those yet?
No.
Oh my gosh. I'm a big fan of T-Mobile, right? I have a T-Mobile phone. That's my network. I love T-Mobile. But those ads, I mean, because the whole Apple versus PC ads, how long ago was that? 5 years ago? I mean, I know some of us are still bitter about them, but
Yeah,
we shouldn't put them
clearly.
in our programming for our commercials, man. Anyway, so we want to do a little shout out again. Panhandlers Pizza, man, sponsoring our show this month. We love those guys. We love the food there. And guys, if you guys have a question or a comment, I would encourage you to text us or call us. 512-843-2835. And Dom, what's our internet address, our email address?
Our internet address?
Wow.
101 Website Street.
That's right.
That's USA.
What's that face page address again?
You can check out our blog at techmix.tv.
Techmix.tv.
There's a bunch of ways to get a hold of us there. You can email us at info@techmix.tv. You can face page us at www.facebook.com/techmixtv, or you can Twitter us at symbol TechMixTV. We'd love to hear from you guys.
That's right. Wow, you did that great, man.
Thanks.
Good job. Hey, so tonight we wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about some of our favorite tech websites. And here's the deal.
We can talk about our favorite tech shows. I'll
That's
tell you
right.
what it is.
Techmix.tv.
Boom.
But seriously, our mission on the show to help make technology understandable so you can make your life better. We wanted to reveal some of our little secrets going on behind the scenes because these tech sites, some of them are a little more geeky than others, but we're going to share these with you guys because we really feel like you can make your lives better. What's your favorite one? What's your favorite tech site?
My personal favorite tech site is it's actually called RedmondPie.com.
That's a good site.
And it's a little play on words because obviously apple pie, but it's Redmond Pie.
Because they also cover Microsoft.
Yes, and this guy, he's a huge fan of anything technology, and he always has good stuff on Android, Windows Phone, Apple, of course, and he's one of the few blogs where I know that every time I go there, I'm going to be interested in whatever their stories are. So that's probably my top one.
Yeah, I love that about Redmond Pie. He's an admirer and a fan of all, but a fanboy of none. And
Right.
I love that. Like he'll share stuff about Microsoft or about Apple or about Google, and it's without bias. I really like that.
Yeah,
And you don't
I agree.
see that a whole lot.
I know, you don't.
We try really hard to do that here on our show, but you don't see that a whole lot out there in the tech world. Dude, what was you got on there with that? Redmond Pie, that's a great one.
Shout out to production.
That's right. My favorite show is TechMix.tv. Bam. My favorite
Shameless plugging.
my favorite tech website though is lifehacker.com. I've been a longtime fan of lifehacker.com. Wow. But I got to tell you, in the last couple of weeks, they've changed up their format, where it used to be in blog style, where like the last like 30 posts would be down in a row, and now they have one post, and they have like, there's a little thing on the side, you can push a button to go down to like through the stuff. But if you drag a little bar on the side, it moves this thing up and down. And the little thing that has all of the link, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And if you're from Lifehacker and you're watching this, or any of the other, Gawker Media sites, guys, go back to what you were doing or get something else. It's horrible. It's cut down my visits to the sites like almost to nothing, until I found, my son turned me on to a news app called Pulse. Have you ever heard of Pulse?
I've heard of it, but I haven't.
Oh, dude, it is sweet. What it does is they have like 100 you can choose from, news sites, a bunch of technology sites. All the ones we're going to mention are on there, and then it puts them. It takes the article with a cool little high def picture and puts like in a row going across, and so you can scroll and go through all of like the last 25 articles on all these pages. Man, I'm going crazy with this Pulse app, man, because all of these websites,
it's like information
man,
overload.
It's like, woo! You're like high on information, right? So that's the Pulse app, and that's pretty much the only reason why I'm checking Lifehacker every day right now. There's a lot of people that are feeling the same way. Hopefully, they'll change their format back. What's that other one that's a big favorite of yours?
Well, it's called Boy Genius Report, and
BGR.
BGR, and
that's a good one.
I mean, here I go.
Hey, we're free to speak freely. Here.
Right, this is our show, I guess. Is they have a lot of information. I really go for sites that have a lot of information on Apple, and obviously because that's one of the main things I'm interested in. But they cover a lot of stuff on Google and Android as well. And they're actually I like Boy Genius Report because, and that's a kind of a geeky site though. That's not really like a normal person wouldn't go there.
We're hoping that we'll make a few geeks out of this show.
Well, that's true. And what I'm saying is, you can't just jump into blogs like Boy Genius Report and Redmond Pie. I mean, they're talking about how to tweak this and do this.
Near field technology,
yeah, that kind of stuff. So I like what I like about Boy Genius is they're legit, right? Is they don't post stories just because someone gives them information. They wait for it to be verified, and the guy who does the editing on there has actually put a couple posts out there on how they go about getting their information, and what it's almost like Watson, where they have to be so sure that a story is real before they post it. So so I really appreciate things like that, where it's not just throw information out to get viewers, to get people reading your blog. It's putting real stories out there that are true, or that have a backup source.
Right.
So
that's cool. Yeah. I recently decided to get a MyTouch 4G based on his review.
Was it the Charles Barkley commercial that made you want to get that?
No.
That advertising is it's almost Jack in the Box advertising.
Dude,
that's how awesome this advertising is.
I'm sorry if anybody from T-Mobile's watching, or their advertising agency, but they got to go a different route.
Charles Barkley may be the funniest man in sports.
He's got something special, doesn't he?
Man, that is terrible.
What? I believe that. No, it was the BGR report. His review of the MyTouch 4G is what made me want to go get one. I read a couple other reviews from people that were kind of biased, but his was very unbiased. He talked about how awesome it was. So if you know anything about me, I only have a phone for about 2 months at a time. That's my next one after my iPhone 4, after I get tired of that.
Yeah, which you're already tired of, I'm sure.
Not yet. I just got it today, so it's pretty dang sweet. But I can't wait to get the MyTouch 4G in a few weeks or a month or so. So we have a question come in?
Well, we did. And the question was, what do tech sites have to offer?
Like, what do you mean?
That's the question.
What do tech sites have to offer?
Why would someone who isn't a tech person, say, be interested in looking at a tech blog?
Well, because I think that we all have a drive. If I get a little philosophical here, we all have a drive to make our lives better. And one of the ways that you make your life better is to be informed. I mean, you need to be informed. You need to know what's, in my opinion, you need to know what's going on around the world. You need to you need to know what's going on in our country, politics, and it's the same way for me with tech. I mean, I want to know what's going on out there. I want to know the controversies. I want to know the stuff that's on the horizon. I want to know the new websites, you know, like that one we talked about, attachments.me. I can't wait till that comes out. That's going to be fun, you know. So to me, that's what tech sites have to offer is, yeah, you might read some review of some, you know, something or other that you're like, yawn, you know, but you also might find something in there that's good, that's helpful, that you can do something cool, you know, very minimum, have something cool on your phone you can impress your friends. The app I'm going to demonstrate tonight, I found on one of those tech sites. It might have been Boy Genius. They just did a little write-up on it, and I'm like, sweet, got to get it, got to try it out, and I love it. So that's for me, that's the reason to know this stuff. And on Lifehacker, they're not 100% technology.
Right.
They're like what do you say, 75% technology?
Yeah, a lot of those stuff like how to have a good Monday morning or things like that. It's really cool, interesting stuff. And I didn't know that about the format, so I hope they get that kind of situated out. But it really is good. It's cool information to read. It's entertaining.
Lifehacker might be like how to turn your rug into a nuclear bomb shelter, you know, or something like that. You know, how to grow rutabagas in your basement, on top of, you know, how to, like, they were the ones that had this little box that's a networking box that has storage built in. It's like a homemade portable networking box that you can pop down in the middle of the room, plug it into the internet, and then everybody's got internet and storage. It had like a skull and crossbones on the outside. I mean, what the heck? Who thought that up? But it's sweet.
That's awesome.
You know? Anyway, so that's why we like those kind of websites.
Got another question come in, or more of a comment. Said, can't wait for iPhone 5. TechMix TV should do a filming of the
yes,
launch.
We should.
That's a great idea.
Yes, we should.
And they said that we should do a giveaway to them. So
wow.
I'm not sure how that's going to go. I mean, I like the comment and I like the enthusiasm. Yeah. But we definitely should do a filming of the opening day. That'd be great.
Yeah, we had a comment. Somebody's still not getting video. Man, we appreciate you guys hanging in. We will have it tomorrow on our website. We'll have the video on our website tomorrow for you guys to go for. So another site that I wanted to talk about. I actually have two more sites. You may have a couple more also.
I don't.
iClarified. Are you familiar at all with iClarified?
No.
Wow, dude, you need to get into iClarified. iClarified is predominantly Apple stuff.
Okay.
And
I should get into it then.
Well, you would love it. They have, I'd probably say 20 to 40% are new apps that have come out. 20 to 40%, somewhere in that range, is news related to Apple, and then the rest would be like just general tech stuff related to to gadgets and stuff like that. I like to read iClarified because I've found a ton of new apps on there that I've put into use, because they do a pretty good review of apps. That's probably the main reason why I like to go there. And then while I'm there, I'll find out other stuff. You know, mostly go there for the apps. Which my other favorite one, it's a new site. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. I think it's Androinica. It's like Android, but Nika instead of the D at the end. Androinica. It's like two guys. They're pretty young. It looks like maybe in their early to mid 20s. And man, these guys they're just taking off. I love it. Man, they've gone in like the past several months since I've been watching them. It was like kind of like a little mom and pop kind of homemade website, and they get more, maybe in the past 6 months or so, more and more professional every day. I'm starting to see shout outs from other websites. I saw them at some of the bigger things going on, some of the bigger conventions and stuff. But one of the things they do a review of apps almost every single day, and I love that. So anything you want to add to any of those, Mr. Man over there? You have a question come in?
Well, we had a comment, but it was
not appropriate for on the air.
Not appropriate
for
on the air.
Well, we'll just have to take that up later.
There's actually, what I do want to say about these technology blogs is you got to be careful which ones you do go to. I'm not saying just go to ones that Randy and I recommend, but really there's some that that are kind of out just to get viewers, and they'll say certain things, and they'll because there was one particular blog that I used to follow. I don't mention what they are, but I used to follow them, and I really just the way that they would dog on certain companies or certain types of products. I'm just not interested in that. I'm interested in getting good, solid information, not trash talking and anything like that. So just be really careful when you go out there. I mean, it's not it's not that bad, but just be careful where you go and make sure it's something that you are interested in.
I'm the same exact way, man.
Yeah.
I hate it when people start. When you can see a bias. Oh man, I hate that. You know,
really?
I really do.
That's interesting.
I really, right.
The irony is not lost on me.
No irony lost there, man. But I agree with you totally on that, man. I mean, you've got to look for stuff that people are trying to be legit, to quote you.
Wow.
You know? And you said, "Wow." So hey,
got a question. Would y'all happen to? I said y'all. I never say that. That's what the question says. Would y'all happen to know how long it will take for Verizon to get the iPhone 5? I think they'll get it the day it comes out. I think iPhone 5 will launch on Verizon and AT&T at the same.
Yeah, it pretty much has to. I mean, that wouldn't be fair
for
it not to. So, have you heard the rumors though this week? You know, typically and this could be a setup. Typically, they do the releases in July, right? June, July, iPhone original, 3G, blah, 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 4G, on and on. There are rumors are going around that the 5 is going to come out in September. Have you heard that?
No.
That was new, like as of like last night. You need to get the Pulse app, man. You'd see it. It's sweet, seriously. But yeah, that's the latest quote unquote rumors out there in the rumor mill.
Yeah, I don't like
September.
that.
I think they're doing it so people will buy an iPhone 4 now, and not say, "Oh, they're about to upgrade. I'm going to wait a little bit."
Yeah,
I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. Apple's not really about making a quick buck.
Wow.
Pure philanthropist.
They're not. Oh, which, by the way, MacBook is supposed to come out this week, the new MacBook
this
Pro.
week or next, yeah. So
And-
if you've been waiting to buy a MacBook Pro, boom!
Yeah, and
buy it now.
the
No,
rumor.
Don't buy it now.
Check this out. The rumor is that the operating system is going to be on a separate solid-state hard drive, kind of like HTC does with the G2 and the MyTouch 4G. Also, the Nook is done that way. So that way, if there's any kind of errors, there's like a hard drive. I mean, an OS they can go back to and rebuild the whole thing. So, do we have any more questions? We got just a couple minutes. We want to demo this app real quick, or we want to wait till next week on that?
I think we want to wait till.
Dang it!
Or at least I do. But I mean, it's a really slick app, and really we would need to use the computer to demonstrate the app.
Yeah,
correct?
that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
So why don't we push that off till next week?
We'll save it till next week. We want to make sure we do. Before we go, we got to do one last shout out to our sponsor, Panhandler. We love Panhandler Pizza. We have the great opportunity to be able to be advertised by a company we actually love. So Panhandler Pizza here in San Marcos. They actually have a location in New Braunfels as well.
It's called Panhandler.
It's called Panhandler.
Yes.
So they're consistent, which is great. And they're also consistent with how great their pizza is, and that's the truth. So I have a list of people who have texted in and emailed in, and that's it.
And so did we take the people off who won the previous 2 weeks?
Yes, we have.
Okay, because I noticed they text in. And by the way, don't we just appreciate with all of our hearts our regular fans? Man, our regular fans are so consistent.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I feel like it's, have you seen the Yes Man, where that one band that the chick is in?
No.
It's the same 7 people that go see the band every time. So from stage, she calls them out by name before she starts the show. I feel like that's how we are, but that's how you start, people.
That's right, man.
Okay?
That's
and
right.
we're here for you.
We've even got fans outside on the street tonight watching the show. Did you know that?
It's piling up. There's thousands of people out there, close to 10,000 people in the street waiting for us to run. It's almost like the Beatles.
Maybe not 10,000, but there are some.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
So it's nothing like the Beatles.
Okay, so I'm going to pick a number.
Hold on. I haven't numbered them. Okay, go. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, so here we go. Drum roll. I picked 4.
Boom! Brianna Doss. You are the big winner on TechMix.tv. Come on down. So what we'll do is
She has 30 seconds to get here.
you have 30 seconds to get in the studio. Otherwise, we have to use the gift certificate. If you can send us your information, send it to our email, info@techmix.tv, and we'll make sure we get you your gift certificate. Congratulations.
Rock on, $20 gift certificate. That will buy a large Panhandler. That's their special pizza. The thing weighs like 40 pounds.
It's
man.
a small price to pay to change your life.
Yes, and I mean that not 40 pounds literally. So we don't want to have false advertising, right? It's a huge, honking, heavy pizza.
It's an
it's
exabyte.
tasty.
It's an exabyte
That's right.
of pizza.
Of cheese.
Of cheese.
That's right, man.
Like this show.
So-
it's an exabyte of cheese.
So wrap it up for us, man.
Well, hey, guys, that's going to do it for this Tuesday. Man, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of the show tonight. We love you guys so much. We do this for you, and if it weren't for you, we couldn't do it. So thanks so much for being here. And for Randy and Dom, you guys have a great week. And think TechMix.tv when you're out there using technology this week. We'll see you guys next week.
God bless. Have a good night.
Okay, see you guys later.
See you later.
Okay, bye.
Last word.
Okay, here we go.
Bam.
Boom. Stay classy.